Hey guys, in this video I will talk about and demonstrate various schema management functions of Backendless Console. Your database, including all the data in the schema, is available through this data icon in Backendless Console. This is a rather new application. I created a data table called character that has a very basic schema. It consists of the columns name, picture. These two columns are added by Backendless. Notice that the name column, the data type is string, and then the picture column, the data type is file reference. So I have three objects in here. One is SpongeBob, and you can see for the pictures there are links to the corresponding files. There is Patrick and there is Gary. So very, very basic database schema. To rename a data table, it is possible. Let's start with that. What you do is you select the data table and then click on the gear icon. And here you can just type in the new name for your data table. And when you're done, just simply click Save to save the changes. When it comes to individual data columns, you can also rename them. And to do this, you just click on the name of the column. So for instance, instead of name, we could use character name. Click Save, and it automatically updates the database schema. This is something that you should not do when you already have your application running, simply because changing the name of the column will change the payload for how the data is being retrieved and how you would be updating various records in your database. So this is something that you would need to think through during the development phase of your application. Now, some additional things that you can do here, you can assign a default value. So for example, this may not be entirely applicable to the characters from SpongeBob, but let's say that there is a column called age and the type is going to be integer. And then the default value could be, for example, 20. It doesn't really make sense here, but this is just a demo. So when you create this, there is an age, and you can see that the default value is 20. So if you were to create a new object in this table, either using the console or using the API, you will see that the value for the age is automatically pre-populated, and then you can just type in whatever the value for the character name, and then the value is going to be there. Same is true if you were to create a new object that has the default value for a column using the API. So in here, I'm going to basically create a blank object without any values. And you'll see that there is a new object in here where the age was defaulted to 20. And then it shows up right here as well. Okay. Additionally, some things that you can do here, if you were to switch to the schema, you can set up some constraints. And then the constraints are important really depending on what they are. So for instance, if you set the constraint as not null, it means that whenever a new object is created or if it is being updated, Backendless will require that this particular property or the ones that you have configured as not null must have a value. So if a value is missing, then Backendless will not allow you to create an object without without a value for this particular property. If you have a constraint that is unique value, that means that whenever an object is being created, Backendless will verify that the values for the specified column are unique across all objects in your data table. As you can see here, creating this constraint was not possible for the reason that all other objects which already exist have the value of 20. As a result, setting up 20 setting up this particular column as unique value is not possible. If we were to delete this column, for instance, and set the character name as unique, then this will certainly work for the reason that all values are unique. It's also possible to configure indexed property, and then this is particularly important if you're running searches against your table by this specific column, and if they are indexed, it tremendously improves the performance of the server in terms of the response time that you get to retrieve values for your data table. Finally, let me just clear these guys out first. Finally, there is also validators. So validators, there is a bunch of validators that are built in, or you can enter your own custom regular expression, and then these validators will perform the function of making sure that the data conforms to the format of any given validator. So let's go back to the having the age column. Let's put it a string, and let's say the validator is going to be between 1 and 10. So now, with this validator in place, if we were to create a new data object and then put the age as 15, which clearly is outside of the value, and then try to save it, you see we get an error back saying that the value doesn't match the chosen validator. So, and then this object cannot be created. But if we change it to 1, then all of a sudden now it works, simply because validator says that this value is acceptable. That's pretty much it as far as the schema management. Keep in mind, renaming is possible, changing the data type is possible, and you can set default values, constraints, and validators.